What's going on, people? It's your boy back with another reaction video. I'll be reacting to 3 creepy true school lockdown stories. This is from Mr. Nightmare. I don't think I've ever had like a lockdown like that. Well, we kind of had a lockdown. I guess you could call it that when I lived down south, when we have like tornadoes. I mean, like actual tornadoes. Like I think they did kind of like a lockdown where the tornado was like 5 miles or less away, I want to say. And they would do a lockdown. Everyone go in the hallways and pretty much sit on their butt and kind of, you can put your head down, stuff like that. And teachers be just pacing back and forth. Because I know one time, it was like the end of the day, and we knew that was going to last the end of the day. So we just left and just walked out of the school. And it was like it ain't that bad out here. Ended up walking home, which was probably from that school, probably about 5 miles. Might not even 5, might have been like 4 miles. And plus it was crisscross, so that took me more time. I couldn't walk straight there. I had to like walk around and sometimes jump over fences to get to try to take a shortcut, but you know, we just left. But that's the only lockdown I ever had. We never had a lockdown where like we had an active shooter or anything. Wait a minute. No, that happened when I was in St. Louis. I was when I was in college. You know, I was going to community college, and we had a lockdown, and we had to lock the doors because it wasn't. We didn't know it wasn't like an active shooter or anything like that. It was just somewhat suspicious behavior, and I guess they had attacked somebody or something. And the police were looking for him. They called the police, so they locked down and told everybody to lock their doors so the police could get him. You know, because all he had to stay in the hallway or go in the bathroom or something like that. So I want to say it was some guy had hit like a chick or something. I don't know, his girlfriend or something. He had argument and hit her or something, and they were looking for him. But I remember they had because it came over. Cause I remember at the time I didn't even know the school had intercoms, and all of a sudden the intercom was, what the hell is that? And they're like, this is not a drill. All teachers lock your doors. School is on lockdown until further notice. I think what they said. And I remember he locked our doors. No one, and they was like, you can continue. They was like, teachers, you can continue your lessons. Just lock your door. So we were still in. I remember I was in math class when this happened. I think I was in algebra 2 or something like that. Intermediate algebra 2 or something like that. But we had to go. She was still teaching. I was like, first thing in my head was like, it's a shooter. Like that's the first thing I think. It must be somebody shooting or something, you know. But nah. Apparently, the next day we found out what it was. It was some guy just got in a fight with some chick. And they were looking for him. So, and then I remember the police came in our classroom and stuff. And they were looking at us like eyeballs. It was funny. They was looking at all the black. I guess it's a black guy. How they was eyeballing all the black dudes in the class. There's only like 3 of us in there. It's 3 of us, 1 white guy, if I remember correctly. I can't remember his name. But he was always. I say he looked like Shaggy. He was real slim. He had like a bowl cut though. He had like rested, like he didn't have just like 5 o'clock shot. He had like kind of a long beard. All other people in there were black women. So, and that class was full. So, and I think the limit of that class was like 30, at least 30 people, something like that. So, I think there's 4 guys total, and the rest were black women, including the teacher. She was a black woman. So, anyway, let's get into 3 creepy, true, scary school lockdown stories. Here we go. I don't know why
this is something you guys have been requesting the hell out of for a long time. It took a lot of time, but I finally found 3 stories that take place during school lockdowns. It was a typical boring day in calculus, only it was Friday, 7th period, meaning the week was almost over and spring break would finally be upon us, so everybody was getting antsy in their seats, I could tell. We didn't have a test that day like a lot of my friends did with their other teachers, so our teacher in the middle of class just decided to start playing games with us on Sporkle.com.
Ah, no.
He was a very laid-back teacher like that. As we were doing some brand logo quiz on Sporkle, I remember the exact moment it happened. Right after my friend answered a question, I remember the exact answer too, Adidas. The dean's voice came through the loudspeaker.
Adidas.
He sounded panicked and frantic as he told all the teachers this was not a drill and to go into lockdown. I actually got the chills, and I got goosebumps on my arms as our usually laid-back teacher too seemed panicked as he ran to turn off the lights and ushered us to the back corner of the room.
Did he lock the doors?
We all sat in silence for about 2 minutes, and then the usual buzzing that came from a panel in the back of the room ceased, indicating that the school must have cut all the power. We all looked at each other, realizing this must be serious. A few more minutes of waiting later, we heard a man screaming at the top of his lungs coming down the hallway. 2 girls in the class actually started crying, which made all of us even more scared. As the screaming got closer to the classroom, the lunatic-sounding man started banging on the lockers while screaming, "I'll kill all of you."
Oh boy.
It was at that moment that I started to fear for my life. My teacher shushed us as we all looked at each other to see our peers' reactions. The banging then moved from the lockers to our classroom door.
Well, y'all the only classroom on that
And that's
hall?
when one of the crying girls screamed no. The banging on the door only grew worse as the man started screaming, "Open up."
Oh yeah, they got that, because we had that in our school.
2 of the girls in the class were crying out loud now. It felt like
Cover
an
the
eternity
window.
that man was pounding at the door. But eventually, he finally continued down the hallway, screaming like a mentally insane person.
Yeah,
Until
you ain't
we could
really
not
getting
hear
through
him
those
anymore.
doors, not by banging on doors.
I'd say 10 minutes later, though it felt like half an hour given the situation, the dean came back on the loudspeaker explaining the situation, which was surprising for him to do. He explained that some apparently mentally unstable person entered the building and assaulted the woman sitting at the front desk, causing her to flee the building screaming, and staff wasn't sure if the man was armed or not. Now this was before the school had cameras or could afford proper security, so the school was wide open to something like this happening. The staff had done a sweep of all the hallways and classrooms and couldn't find him, so the dean instructed the teachers to resume teaching but to keep all the doors locked and to not let any students leave for any reasons. The most disturbing part, however, is that one of the janitors working the night shift found the man sleeping in one of the storage closets near the back end of the school. And according to rumors that were spread by my peers,
he was all crazied out.
Out of his pocket was a .44 Magnum. The janitor must have done something stupid to wake him up, for example, leaving the closet door open, because by the time a police officer could arrive on the scene, the man was gone. My entire class, as far as I know, to this day, has no idea if this man was ever found, but I like to think that right now, he's being given the proper help that he needs.
Or heard this before. I don't know.
My school has 2 lunch periods. First lunch period is for all 6th graders and some 7th graders.
I think this video was
posted like 3 years ago. The second lunch period is for the other half of the 7th graders and all 8th graders. The lockdown happened in the beginning of October. The day the lockdown occurred, it was overcast and rainy. During the first lunch period, I heard 4 loud booms. I personally thought it was thunder, but the entire lunch crowd started screaming. I was thinking those kids were just serious pussies, but the campus security came in and started yelling at people to go into the multi-purpose room, and the kids who were in line buying lunch had to throw out their lunch and come inside. Me and some friends went inside the room along with a huge group of other kids. Everyone was curious as to what was happening. Our multi-purpose room is huge, and the back wall of the room is made of see-through glass. When me and my friends were rushed inside the campus, security was covering the glass with the curtains, and there were adults at every exit. My friend Eric was curious, as well as the rest of us, so he asked one of the adults what was going on. When he came back, he said, "You know how right in front of TMS there's those houses?" I replied, "Yeah." "There's this mentally disabled, crazy man that barricaded himself in front of his house, and he's threatening to commit suicide and kill the cops if he's evicted." He was walking around outside of school watching kids in a weird way, Eric told us. It turned out the man was also a registered sex offender, making matters worse.
Sheesh, this
we were
dude
stuck in the
just
multi-purpose
going
room
down
for a
the
whole
list
hour,
of
taking up
fucking
2
lunacy.
periods. After the whole thing was settled, we were escorted to our classrooms one by one. I later found out that the man lives next to my friend Brandy, who told me about the previous Halloween when she saw the same man at his window cutting his arm and writing in his own blood, "Don't come here or I'll kill you," on his window. Of course, being Halloween, people, including Brandy, assumed it was just for the holiday. But after this horrific incident, we knew this man was mental, and we're glad he never got near us.
Damn, that man needs some
I'm
serious
22 years
psychiatric
old,
help.
fresh out of college, and I recently got a job at my old high school as a sort of computer intern in the school basement. The basement of the school is very messy and disorganized, but there is a small 3-person office that's actually very nice down there. It has 3 nice big desks, 2 mini fridges, a flat screen TV mounted on the wall, and oh so satisfying air conditioning, a luxury the students and teachers cannot enjoy in the school. And of course all the school servers and other computery stuff. I got the job because 3 of my old computer teachers flat out adored me. I could actually consider them as real friends, not just teacher figures, so they all helped tremendously in landing me this job. It's been great, until something that happened a few months ago. My 2 co-workers that shared the office with me, Dave and Gary, weren't in the office at the time. They were upstairs working on papers or whatever. I was eating my sandwich during my lunch break when I got a phone call from one of the women in the front office, telling me the school was on lockdown and that somebody, possibly armed, had entered the school. There wasn't much that I could do other than turn off the lights because, surprisingly, as nice as this little office was, it didn't have an actual door to it, just a big opening, and the door to the whole basement didn't even have a working lock. For my own safety, I did turn off all the lights in the office and my computer screen.
I would not have stayed.
I kept my phone on the desk, texting both Gary and Dave, but they wouldn't respond. I sat down there in the dark, playing games on my phone for like 20 minutes, waiting for the call from up front to tell me to resume working. I had no idea what was happening. I couldn't hear what was going on upstairs from down here, but I was not allowed to make any calls until I was informed that the lockdown was over. Then the noisy basement door opened. As the creaking echoed across the basement and into my office, I sat up from my seat, wondering if I should call out Gary or Dave. I was eager to get some info from them. Someone then came running down the stairs, and their footsteps were approaching my office. I pushed away my chair and crawled under my desk. Somebody entered the office, but did not turn on the lights.
You should have already been under your desk.
There was just silence. I can't even describe the fear I was experiencing.
Don't tell me his
I felt
phone's
like if I made one sudden noise, I'd be a dead man. Suddenly, my phone dinged as I got a text message. I felt my entire world shrivel up and die at that one moment as I clenched my teeth in fear.
He clenched his butthole.
Moved closer to me until I finally dove out from under the desk in capitulation, begging whoever it was not to kill me. And just then, someone grabbed my arm and pulled me up. It was some guy in a red plaid button-up, jeans, and a reddish-black cap. He told me, "It's okay, I'm just down here hiding with you." "What's going on up there?" I whispered.
It's okay. I'm just
He kind of ignored my question and asked me if there's an exit down here. I told him, "Yeah, around that way." Before he could do anything else, I asked him, "Who are you?" There was a brief moment of silence. Before he started explaining he was coming in to pick up his son, when a teacher told him to hide. After his explanation, I checked my phone and saw the text I received was from Dave. It said, "Dude, this is fucking crazy. Some guy with a gun shot Mr. Buckley. He's wearing a red shirt and a hat. Whatever you do, don't come upstairs." I was about to reread that text out loud to the man until I realized
he's wearing a red shirt
and felt my stomach sink.
He was like,
"Shit." The man seemed to catch on to my suspicious stare. Panicking, all I could think to do was to run for the upstairs. A gunshot echoed through the basement, and I could hear the bullet ricochet off something metal in the darkness. But thank God the bullet missed me, and I made it upstairs. Fortunately, police were waiting at all exits, including the basement exit, and caught the man the second he opened the door. More good news. Our teacher, Mr. Buckley, survived the gunshot. It was later determined that the man and Mr. Buckley had some beef for whatever reason, but that was never revealed. All we know is that Mr. Buckley couldn't have done anything that would have warranted this kind of reaction.
Yeah, and he tried to shoot you.
The sound of that gunshot will forever echo in my mind.
Like, I wonder why the guy went in the room and just stood there. He said he didn't turn on the light. Mister. Like, yeah. He didn't turn on the light. He said he just stood there, just dead silent, until his phone pinged, and then the guy walked over to the bed. So, like, why was he just standing there? Was he looking for something? I wonder how much time was passing right there. Like, if he went in the room, he was like, couldn't see, but he was trying to see if he saw, like, an emergency at an exit lit up, exit sign lit up somewhere, and he was, like, looking or something like that. But I don't know why you walk in the office for that. I don't think I've ever seen an exit, a door in that office. No. Nope, I take that back. Now I'm thinking. It was the exit door in my principal's office when I was when I went to the school from the 4th grade to the 6th grade. Well, to the 5th grade, because then I went to another school in the 6th grade. But I remember I had to go in his office once because I got in a fight. I think it was a fight with some bullies or something. And I saw he had an exit door in his office. It was 2 exits. It was an exit door in his office, and it was an exit door in the in the office where the receptionist was at. Because then right out there, it was a front door, like right outside her office. So I was like, I remember I sat in there once. I remember just sitting there. I was like, I didn't really think about it. I was like, the exit door. Like I was. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, why were there 2 exit doors? It was one in his office and one. Maybe if his door was closed and she needed to get out quickly, she could just get out right there. But that just. Or maybe if something happened that blocked his door, if his door was closed, his door was closed a lot. Maybe he could get out that way. I don't know. But at other places, I've never seen exit doors in people's offices after that. Like, they be in hallways or in big rooms and stuff like that. But not like in an office. Or a small room like that. Where people make it to office. But yeah, I never had an incident like that, like I said, active shooter. The closest thing I had was that guy who, like, I'm guessing, beat up his girlfriend. He could have just hit some guy, could have just hit a random woman, and was running around the school. I do remember they said they saw him on the cameras, leaving on the same side that I come up to go to when I park my car. He was leaving out there when the police already there, and some of the police were, stayed outside. And they caught him in the parking lot. Like, he was trying to run in the parking lot. And I was like, that parking lot was so big and so many cars. He probably could have just hid in between the cars. But it was cold outside because this was in the winter. I want to say it was like February. I want to say. But it was cold. I was like, yeah, he probably didn't want to be out there that long. Yeah. Anyway, hope y'all enjoy my reaction on this. You did hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to comment down below maybe your experiences in school lockdowns or school experiences where just an incident happened and it was kind of like a lockdown maybe, or maybe it wasn't lockdown. Everyone just panicking because your school didn't prepare for that, so everyone's just freaking out and running all over the place. Let me know down below in the comment section, and like I said, subscribe, share. And I'll see y'all next video. Peace.